Yeah, welcome to the Making of Me podcast. The guest is Dan MacQueen, a two-time brain homopage survivor who has to relearn how to walk, talk, and smile. Dan experience taught himself the setback can refocus the mind, build resilience, and transform life. It's really a pleasure having you on the show, Dan.
All right, thanks for having me, man. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, thank you. So Dan, in one sentence, what challenge shaped you into who you are today?
In one sentence, what brought me into who I am today? Medical noise.
Medical noise. Wow. So can you take us back to London in 2014? What exactly happened?
Yeah, for sure. So I was working in tech, a company called Hootsuite, social media management platform, working post-sale, so implementation specialist, service-based SaaS business. Worked with clients in Europe, Middle East, and Africa. So some clients from Nigeria as well, which is pretty cool. And I started having these headaches that were horrible. They got worse after a few weeks, taking painkillers like candy for them as my head was pounding. Headaches got so bad, I was in the tube one day. The tube's how you zigzag around London. Lumbering towards Nine Hill Gate tube station on the District line. That's a slow roll at the best of times. Headaches were so bad, my vision turned starry and I saw spots. So I started to fade to black. It was a race as you could arrive at the station first, me or the blindness. Arrived at Nine Hill Gate tube station, stepped on the platform, mind the gap, and the lights went out. I couldn't see a thing. So I want to ask you, able-sighted guy your whole life, all of a sudden you're thrust in depths of blindness. What do you think? What do you feel? What do you do?
I don't even know how to answer that. It's really a whole lot at that moment.
Yeah, well, that's probably my predicament as well. I was frozen there like a statue on the station. My eyes, I can't see anything, but I can smell it, I can hear it. The station's swirling around me, and I'm thinking, how can I get out of this pickle? This is a pretty bad predicament. After the longest 3 minutes of my life, my vision comes back, and I carry on my day. But the next day, I go storming back into A&E. Now, A&E is accident emergency in the UK, ER in Canada, United States, and probably Africa as well. I told them what's going on with me here. I was blind on a tube station in London. This is not normal. They ran some more tests, and again, they thought it was vertigo. They sent me home. On the way out, they told me I could always get my eyes checked by an optometrist. Sure, why not? Next day, they had to send back with a vengeance. And I found myself in Mr. Patel's chair. He was midway through a routine exam when he stops the exam, excuses himself from the room, and he comes back a few minutes later with a sealed envelope which he hands to me. He told me to go directly to Moorfields Hospital, which I did. Well, tell a lie. I stopped at home first to grab a Jack Reacher book by Lee Child, a phone charger and a bite to eat. Arrived at Moorfields Hospital, handed them the sealed envelope. They ran the same test there again, then escalated me to Charing Cross Hospital. We're getting somewhere. I'm thinking, this is positive. This is a good thing. Now, it turns out, I had a dangerous buildup of pressure in my brain caused from a non-cancerous cyst in my pineal gland. This prevented the fluid from my brain to drain as it normally would, causing the pressure to mount up, causing the vision issues. Now, it turns out, I require emergency brain surgery tomorrow. Now, it turns out, my world's about to change altogether. So after a frantic back and forth with folks in Canada, the last text message my mom received reads, "I'll see you soon, Mom. Think I'll have a new haircut next time I see you. Love, Dan." So Mom's in the air flying to London on June 21st, 2014. I'm on the operating table. Something goes horribly wrong. I have a massive bleed in the brain, a brain hemorrhage. And then the cyst burst when they operated. So Mom lands and finds I'm in critical condition. Was in a coma for 4 weeks? Was in unconscious for months after this. Things were pretty dicey touch and go. When all of a sudden I was going to walk, talk, and smile again. That's where the story kicks off.
Wow, that was really a whole lot, and I couldn't just make reference of how it must have been hard to actually have to reteach yourself how to do everything again. That's a whole lot. So, what was the hardest part of relearning basic skills after the first brain hemorrhage?
I think the hardest thing was getting the mindset right, because this isn't my life. I was healthy and active yesterday. I was playing ball hockey, five-side footy in London, and then I was in Lithuania the week before this, traveling, visiting my girlfriend at the time. Healthy, active guy, and then all of a sudden I wake up 4 weeks later from a coma, being told what happened to you. But it was the mental thing that was so much more difficult than the physical limitations I had. To get my mind around what had happened to me was so jarring and challenging and so abrasive, right? It was so stark from where I was just at. Healthy, vibrant guy working in tech, all of a sudden being told, this is what happened to you, you can't walk, talk, or smile. And then once I got the mindset right, I got to work on rebuilding my life. But the mindset was the first domino that had to fall.
That's a whole lot. So how did you handle the second setback in 2015? And what did you do differently?
Well, before I dive into that, can I share a few stories about the first setback?
Yeah.
So in order to walk, I had to wear a splint on my left leg. Splints that get cast to gently tease the left leg muscle back into shape. Now, the first night I wore the splint through the night, no issue, no stress. This will be easy, I thought. This will be easy. Hinting it's not going to be easy, right? The second night, after 20 minutes it was painful. After 30 minutes it was dreadful. After 40 minutes it was unbearable. I buzzed the nurse, take the splint off my leg because I can't handle the pain. But tomorrow, I told them, tomorrow we're going to do this for an hour. I'm a walker, I can handle the pain. Big talk, man, big talk. So third night they wrap the leg, tie it off at the ankle. Give me the clicker the nurse called on. They go patrol the Wilson ward. Now the Wilson ward was an L shape, so short on this side, long on this side. Short on this side, long on this side. Leave me in that hospital room that smells like only a hospital room can smell. Sanitized, sterilized. It's clean, but you're wondering what sort of atrocities have been committed on the guys that love me zestness. After 10 minutes, the leg's painful. After 20 minutes, the leg's dreadful. After 30 minutes, the leg's unbearable. I stare past the clicker back and forth, trying to distract myself from the pain. As the pain ratchets up my throat, I get more enthusiastic. Till eventually, inevitably, I drop the clicker, and it lands on the hard linoleum floor 3.5 feet down the ground. I look over the edge of the bed. There's the clicker there lying on the floor looking back at me. If I get that clicker, I can stop this pain. I can end this monstrosity. Only problem was, a fall from that height might break my arm. In fact, I figured about a 50-50 chance we'd break my arm. A coin flip, not the best odds. I changed tack. I'm trying to untie the split, but it's tied off the ankle, not of the hip. I can't reach that far down. I'm not that flexible. Help! Help! I'm yelling at the top of my lungs. The word Wilson was an L shape, right? Short on this side, long on this side. Short on this side, long on this side. They're at the far end of the ward. They can't hear me for help. I decided to flip the coin, drop down and grab the clicker. Even if I break my arm, the splints gotta come out like this. Priority number 1, 2, and 3. Lower myself off the edge of the bed, and I crash down in a heap. Blankets, wires, cables, all to go. The arm holds, and I hammer the clicker, expecting the nurses to come bursting into the room like the bat signal put up. They kind of stroll in 5 minutes later. What are you doing to float up? First of all, I say, that's a fantastic British accent there. Where did you say it from again? No, in all honesty, Aro did not say that. It's not what happens to you, but how you respond to the matters, right? It's not what happens to you, but how you respond to the matters. The reason why I'm telling these stories is I learned 3 lessons from this experience. The first lesson being, let's not pass the clicker back and forth. Second lesson being, let's try to splint up of the hip, not the ankle. That way I can untie the shit that's happening going forwards. And the third lesson, and probably most profound, let's always be solutions oriented and move forwards. When things go sideways in life, which sure as you're born they will, how do you resolve your issue? How do you fix your problem? Now that got me walking into Tune Broadway. I want to share one more story with you, then we'll talk about the second setback.
Yeah.
So Arl, have you been to London, England?
No, I haven't.
Okay. So Tune Broadway is an area in South London. An area they call up and coming. Think loud sirens, drugs, gangs. It's dirty, it's hectic, and boy is it busy. I'm walking with a cane, walking with an eye patch. After 4 months in a wheelchair, I'm literally Bambi on ice. I turn the corner to walk on the high street for the first time. Immediately get slammed into by someone. I stagger back a few feet. Someone else scurries past me on the right-hand side. I thought I was done with the rats. Someone had been stabbed on the sidewalk over here. I'm thinking this is a pretty wild place to learn to walk. After a few days of this, I was thinking this is the worst place to learn to walk in the world. Can't they see I'm trying to walk here? Can't they see I'm trying here? And then one day my perspective shifted. This isn't the worst place to learn how to walk in the world. Maybe it's the best. If I can walk here, I can walk anywhere. Now, Tune Broadway didn't change, right? But it went from the worst to the best in my mind, and my mood reflected that. What are you looking at in your life you're convinced is the worst? Convinced is the absolute worst. Hey, maybe it is. Maybe you can find a way to turn down the suck a little bit. Shift that perspective a little bit. Iron Mike Tyson famously said, everyone's got a plan until they get punched in the mouth. Now, in all honesty, your punch may not be a brain hemorrhage, right? Facts. But it will be a job loss, a breakup, a diagnosis for you, a loved one. You will take that punch in the mouth, how you respond. I'm offering a compass, not a map, but a compass. It always points towards true north. We'll look at things like mindsets, perspectives, and hacks. Hacks will allow you and your team to be better than yesterday, tomorrow. My name's Dan MacQueen, and the reason why I told you that story about learning to walk in Tune Broadway is when you change the way you look at the world look at changes. And you don't need a brain hemorrhage to understand that. So I shared that story with you to kind of showcase the triumphs and trials of learning to walk again and how difficult that was to do, but also the mindset required to navigate this change successfully. It was a mindset game above anything else. That switch from the worst to the best allowed me to really relish those walks in Tune Broadway, looking forward to those walks. It wasn't difficult, it wasn't arduous, it was, you're making me better with this, thank you. So all that happened, and then I got back to work. After 6 months I was released from the hospital, another 6 months rehab at home. Then I got back to work 2 half days a week, 3 half days a week. I was putting this in my rearview mirror, right? I was building my life back up. And then I had a second setback. What had happened was, I used to be my mom with a tube before I went to work in the morning. She'd go off on her walk, I'd go into the office, happy days. One day I didn't show up. Calls my cell, no response, walks to my flat, about 5-minute walk from Salisbury Road tube station. Knocks on the door, no response, opens the door. There I am unconscious on the floor. Rush to the hospital, wake up the next day, the beeping noise of her going off behind me, beep, beep, beep. What happened? Well, then you had a second setback. What do you mean? I had a shunt put in my brain after the first setback, the first brain hemorrhage. They said blocked leading to hydrocephalus or water on the brain. The doctor goes on to tell me, damn, this is very rare. Less than 10% of cases. But I'm thinking, lucky me. I've been working for a year to get behind me to get back to the office, to put my life back in gear. And this floored me. My recovery is like a W, right? The first setback's down here.
Yeah.
I kind of scamper back up. The second setback's not where the first one was, much lower. The depths of the human experience, right? All your hopes and dreams are snickered at. You thought you had a chance, bud. You ain't going nowhere. It's a mindset game about anything else. I'm not going to say I was instantly back on my feet and like chipper and ready to take on the world. This took a lot of reflection and self-work to kind of get myself around the fact that, the games were lost, but I just done rehab. I knew I could do it better this time. I could go faster. So rock bottom or bedrock, right? And I chose to look at it like a bedrock situation and build myself back up. That's medical noise reduced to about a 10-minute period. So there you go.
Yeah, amazing. There's a whole lot to actually learn from this. And the fact that you were optimistic all through it and being able to kind of walk yourself out of it. It's really a whole lot and a whole lot of lessons to actually learn from it. So one of your life hack is swallow the hairy frog. Can you share stories and its lessons?
For sure. So I used to swim Monday mornings before work. I'd get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, go to the pool, swim lengths, and go to the office. And this required me to bring 2 bags to the office. So I was taking the lift down after work one day. My HR manager's in the lift with me. And I had these 2 bags with me. She goes, "Damn, what's all this for?" I'm like, "Oh, I went swimming this morning before work." And she goes, "Oh, you swallowed the hairy frog." And I go, that's not a thing. So she was thinking as an expression for like doing the difficult task first thing in the morning, swallow the frog. Then she's combined it with hair of the dog. So from that moment onwards, it became known as swallow the hairy frog. It's kind of a lesson for like, if you have a difficult task to do it first thing in the morning before you get on to your day.
Yeah.
And then it makes the task a lot easier to navigate and navigate. The swallow the hairy frog's a pretty funny one. I've got a great mug that I made her that's a frog combing his back hair to kind of signify the hairiness. But it's a hack in itself because like if you have a hard task to do it first thing in the morning. Do it first thing off the hop. It's not lingering over you all day. You can get it done with and dealt with at the top.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you, Dan. So, goal setting has been a big roles in your recovery. How did our big goals like scaling help you regain confidence?
So yeah, goal setting is quite big for this, right? Like I think goal setting is important. Now, the way you set goals is not big astronomical goal, big reaching goals, and then do nothing for like the years it takes to accomplish them. You pick small targets you can hit that target, and then ratchet up to that point. That's the new baseline. So for instance, I meditate for 2 minutes in the morning for 1 week. Next week I do 4 minutes. Then do 6 minutes. Aim small, miss small, and then ratchet. The goal I'm aiming for is only 2 minutes. Once I hit that goal, that's my new baseline. I ratchet up to that point. Then 4 minutes of the baseline. Then 6 minutes. Getting in the wheelchair, this took the form of getting in the wheelchair in 45 minutes, not 50. Next week I did 40, not 45. And so on and so forth. Pick a small target to hit that target, and that's the new baseline. That's how you can hit massive goals in a short period of time. I've got one story I want to share about Stairway to Heaven, which is a big goal for me at the time. So I've been in Wolfson Rehab Center for 2 months, and a chance for a home visit came up. Haven't been home in 4 months, and I was really looking forward to a weekend out of that dreary hospital. The only thing that stood between me and the way of having a home visit were the stairs to me back to my flat in Hammersmith. As my mom put it, there must be 100. Actually, there was 44 steps. Now, 44 steps didn't sound like much, but keep in mind I was fresh out of a wheelchair.
Yeah.
It seemed like a rather tall order. I began training the stairs in the hospital, building up to 44. 44 was all I needed to have a weekend out of that dreary hospital. I set this goal for myself rather than a set for me. Come hell or high water, I was making up those 44 stairs back home. Over the course of a few weeks, I built more to 44 stairs and moved back home. Home sweet home, man, that's a good feeling. I made the best BLT sandwich of my life at the top of those 44 stairs. But it was 44 stairs, not 100, right? What are you aiming at? Is the target appropriate? Is it accurate to what you're actually trying to accomplish? That's a small goal, right? A big goal was skiing. So I was working on the even bars on the rehab team. Now, even bars are just what they sound like. Even bars you hold when you're unstable on your feet. Still in the wheelchair at this stage. And the rehab team asked me what I was most looking forward to get back to doing. I thought about it. Gotta have a good answer for this. Growing up, I played everything. Soccer, hockey, volleyball, softball. Skiing would be most people, I thought. Balance, core strength, depth perception. Double vision would make things interesting, gauging obstacles at speed. If I could ski again, I'd have to be in a pretty way physically, I thought. I'd like to ski, and I told them. They paused. They nodded in agreement. Okay, they said. What I'm sure was a simple exercise, designed to get me thinking about future goals, was burned in the back of my mind and something I'm waiting for. Well, I was asked when I want to make this happen. I said 2022. 10 years from the last ski trip I was on in Morrissey in France. For those who keeping score at home, that's a couple years in the past. Late in the season in March, but the season in the shop, they get waxed. They get sharpened, but they couldn't adjust my bindings. The ski bindings hold your feet to the skis, so when you fall, they break off to help prevent your knees from getting hurt. Mine were set very high because I used to ski a lot of steep bumps. I didn't want to fall because the binding said I needed to quit. I wanted to fall because I actually fell. They couldn't adjust those, no problem, I said, no problem. Basically, Gross Mountain Super Sky Ride, my local hill that I grew up skiing on, We get the position last in the door. We get the place to rest our skis and our poles on the doors that close behind us. Riding up on the gondola. I'm riding up, I'm thinking, man, I hope this comes back. I'm going to look like an absolute tit if I can't get this off the ground. Over the first tower, big forwards, big back. Close your eyes, I'll see the last leg of the gondola. Feel nip cold in your cheeks. Not a lot, but enough to let you know what else to do. Dock of the station, when we walk the station by the gear, clomp, 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 clomp. Open the doors, new wall of sunshine, let it hit your face. Big inhale through your nose. Smell the pines, the cedars, the hemlocks, down the stairs, clang, 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 onto the snow, crunch, crunch, crunch. Soft pack, don't you know it's spring? Open your eyes, please. Situated with the boys, Andrew and RJ. And then after 10 years off the slopes, I'm skiing, and I'm skiing like I never missed a day.
Wow.
3 pumps of the poles into a left-hand turn again and again and again. I used to be a ski instructor before I had the brain injury, right? So I remember how to teach skiing. Remember, if you hold your poles in your hands like this and just activate your lower body, upper body still like a duck, that's the proper technique to ski. So I skied, and it looked like I never missed a day. This is a goal that was 10 years in the making, but it was not 10 years in the making doing nothing. It was 10 years incrementally ratcheting up to get to this point. Aim small, miss small, and ratchet, right? Balance board, visualization, meditation, stretching out, flexing the muscles, build myself back up to get confidence with this. The fastest way to reach big goals is to aim small, miss small, and ratchet. That's how I accomplish those goals are.
Wow, amazing. I'm just seeing more like how the diligence, the consistency that actually get to build in those particular regimens that make you achieve those particular goals, and it's your consistency for me. And yeah, it's really, really amazing and really, really admiring. So how has our gamification help you and your audience be better than yesterday?
Yeah, thanks for the question. Gamification is something I like to reference when I'm talking about this, because when life's a game, when life's about play, it's less heavy, less busy, less stressful. So I was on this podcast probably last year or 2 years ago, maybe. It was a gaming podcast, and I'm not a big gamer. And he goes, we'll talk about games that you used to play. I'm like, well, Mario, like 64, Nintendo 64 was what I used to play growing up. That's like an older generation console. Mario Kart 64 was my game. I was good at that game. So explain life like Mario Kart 64. I'm like, okay, cool. So go around the mushroom circuit, you hit the third left-hand turn, there's an obstacle area. You hit it the first time, hit it the second time, hit it the third time. Like, dude, the obstacle's there on the third turn. Drive around it. Life's like this, right? There's patterns that show up in life. If you can make it a game, if you can make it fun of it, it lessens the power and makes it less difficult to navigate this. When it's a game, it's playful, it's fun. Yeah. It's less like stressful and heavy, right? So the goal is to make life like this, right? Make it a game, make it playful, understand the patterns and start identifying these patterns that come around. Because there are patterns that come around in life. I've been here before. What did I do last time? Did it work last time? No? Then do something different this time. Understand these patterns will repeat and they'll continue coming up. That's how you gamify life and make it better than yesterday.
Amazing. Actually, more like seeing life from the perspective of game and getting better at it. That is how you get to kind of become better each and every day compared to the previous day. Yeah, that's really amazing. So your morning routine seems central to your success. What key habits set you up for the day?
Yeah, thanks, man. So I follow a very simple morning routine to kind of boot up my day, designed to help limit my thought process in the morning. So I'll wake up and I make the bed. First thing I'll do is make the bed. Make the bed for 2 main reasons. The first, the room will look tidy. If you're messy with the bed's made, the room will look tidy. The second reason is it's the first task you accomplish in the day. You pave the way for more success. Last thing you do in the day is get into bed. Hey, I accomplished in the morning. Next, I'll jump into my body. I've got a Whoop strap, which is like a little fitness tracker thing.
Yeah.
So I've settled on doing push-ups in the morning. A quick way to get into my body. So I'll do some push-ups and then I'll jump into the shower. And I got 2 for the shower. I buy some eucalyptus oil, sprinkle it in the shower. Boom, you're transported to the spa. You're welcome. Second one is you end the shower cold. Now in Vancouver, that's colder than it would be in Nigeria, but not that cold for Canada. So it's not that heavy, but it's still abrasive. It's cold, man. It's jarring. It's cold as hell. I do that for 3 minutes. Then I'll get in the shower, dry off, and then I'll meditate for 20 minutes. And I practice some speech and language stuff to get myself geared up for the day. Then I'm on to breakfast, then I'm on to start my day. But every day is the same startup sequence. I'm rebooting myself, priming myself with the same morning routine to prime myself for the day. You win the morning, Tim Ferriss says, you win the day. You win the morning, you win the day.
You win the morning, you win the day. Yeah, amazing. What is one actionable step that listener can take today to reframe their challenge and move forward?
I think goal setting, the idea of aim small, miss small, and ratchet is key, and I want to explain that to you fully so you understand what I'm talking about. So for instance, aim small. Let's use the example of meditating in the morning, right?
Yeah.
You do 2 minutes in the morning for 1 week, right? That's the goal. That's what you're aiming at. You're aiming small, just 2 minutes. If you miss it, you're only gonna miss by like a few seconds on each side, right? You do 2 minutes that week. Next week you do 4 minutes. Then you ratchet up to 4. That's the new baseline. Then you do 6 minutes. But you're only climbing for 2 extra minutes each week, right? The aiming is so small that you're only climbing those 2 extra minutes. 2, then 4, then 6, then 8, then 10, then 12. You're only climbing so small, so you can't miss that badly. Once you hit that target, that's the new baseline. That's how you can accomplish big goals in a matter of weeks, months. But you have to it's all about progress and over perfection. Momentum is so key for this, right? Start stacking wins in a way that's positive for you and just ratchet up and just ratchet up. If you adopt that strategy above nothing else, you can accomplish big goals. Who knows, maybe you'll be skiing sometime in Nigeria as well.
Amazing. Aim small and actually win it. And this is really amazing of actually getting to look at it. And the fact that you are motivated all through those periods and see the better side of life or compared to being burdened down by the current situation. It's really amazing, and it's really inspiring just hearing your stories, and yeah, a whole lot. Thank you, Don.
Thank you. I got one last thing to share before we end the call for today. The odds of being a human being are 400 trillion to 1. 400 trillion to 1, that's a staggering number of zeros. You're more likely to win the lotto 10 times in your lifetime than you are of life in the first place. You get to do this. I'm only Dan MacQueen because this blip was in my DNA. Without it, it wouldn't be me, and I wouldn't trade myself in the world. You're only you because you're exactly who you are right now.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you'd be someone else. So don't whinge about what's happened to you or what experience you're facing. You get to do this, man. If you get your mindset right with this, man, there's nothing you can't overcome and navigate. But the odds of being a human being are 400 trillion to 1, right? You get to do this. Remember that. And that's easier said than done. There's some days where I don't really think that's a fair shake and I'm not really happy with this, but I remind myself that saying, that expression, that metric. I get to do this. To struggle, to strive, to strain, to fail, to love, to laugh. I get to do this. And it's because of this experience, I get a chance to try this. The opportunity to make myself better.
Yeah, I got to do this rather than winding yourself over things that happens to you. Yeah, take hold of it and yeah, make it better. And this is really amazing and really inspiring. Yeah, thank you, Dan. So Dan, for my audience who want to reach out to you and connect with you, how can they reach out and where is the best platform to do this?
Thank you. I'm MacQueen Dan across Instagram and LinkedIn. And my website's MacQueen Dan, MacQueen Dan.com. You can see my demo reel. Contact me for speaking opportunities online or in person. So feel free to get in touch. And I'm also MacQueen Dan on Instagram as well. You can message me there and DM me if you listen to the episode.
Yeah, amazing. Definitely the link is going to be on the show notes for my audience to reach out. Yeah, it has really been amazing just hearing your stories and despite the setback, despite the ups and downs, yeah, it is the fact that you still have a routine, you still work towards it to become better every day. Yeah, it just shows us that if you can, why can't the other of us get to kind of become better and do a lot of amazing other stuff? And this is really amazing, McDonald. And your story reminds us that setback can become our springboard for growth, our true resilience, perspective,
man. Exactly.
and daily habits. We can transform obstacle into opportunity. Yeah, once again, it's really a pleasure having you on the show.
Yeah, thanks, brother. Appreciate you.